So we are going to start our session again. The discussion was on blended learning. So we were discussing about, say for example, at university level, we have all kind of resources available. And as a faculty, I know how to blend those resources. But at a management level, I need to consider that if I provide all kind of resources and my faculty members are ready to use those resources, the first important thing that we need to consider is what about the student population? Are my students comfortable while using all those kind of resources? And what are their preferences as far as various teaching learning activities are concerned? If at university level we are able to, if at university level or at institute level, we are able to create innovative spaces for our student, as a management, we are not, we cannot assume that faculty and students want to use it. If as a faculty, I have a little choice, or I can say if I'm compelled to use those kind of resources, as a faculty, I need to evaluate whether I am able to use those resources as per the demands of my student. You see, integration of technology in teaching learning is very easy for all of us because there are many trainings provided to all the faculty members to integrate those kind of resources. But when it comes to provide those resources, when it comes to use those resources for various teaching learning activities, I need to consider the demands of my student. I need to consider the expectations level my students want to fulfill when they are in my classes. When I'm engaging them maybe for 45 minutes or for 55 minutes by the use of technology only. So we need to evaluate that whether the increased use and availability of online teaching resources make an impact on the student achievement or not. Or whenever we are integrating technology, we need to evaluate that what kind of resources need to be there by the use of which it is possible for me to disseminate knowledge and information among my student, but at the same time when I'm evaluating my students by the use of those resources, what kind of evaluation need to be there. So these are some of the issues that we need to consider before integrating technology in our teaching learning purposes. We can have resources, we can integrate resources, but impact of those resources on student learning need to be evaluated. And as per the level of the students, we need to consider those resources. We need to integrate those resources in our various teaching learning activities. Another important question that we need to consider about blended learning approaches is education, where we are heading right now. I hope we all are aware that as per the new education policy 2020 in chapter number 19, they provide us the importance and significance of technology in teaching learning activities. And they said that appropriate integration of technology into all levels of education, started from the primary education up to higher education. We as faculty, we as management members need to integrate technology in our teaching learning. Integration of technology is not in terms of the student uses for classroom environment, but to support teacher preparation and development. Say, for example, when somebody replied that I'm using PowerPoint presentation for my class students, as far as the use of technology is concerned. So, as a member, I need to evaluate what we mean by PowerPoint presentation. What kind of presentations need to be there? At present, internet is full of PowerPoint resources. Even a student can download a PowerPoint presentation of a given topic and prepare that particular kind of a content. So when I said I'm using PowerPoint presentation, it means as a teacher, what kind of resources I need to prepare for my student. As per the level of my student, what kind of slide preparation need to be there. Say, there are students in my class who are visual learners. There are students in my class who are kinesthetic learners. There are students in my class who are global learners. So keeping this in view, when I said I'm using PowerPoint presentation as a teaching aid for my student, I need to consider the demands of all my students. So maybe one time I'm using PowerPoint presentation. In my PowerPoint presentation itself, there is a hyperlink provided to my student where it is possible for them to go to that a hyperlink and see a YouTube video or any recorded lecture. When I support teacher preparation and development as a faculty, when I'm said I'm using technology, maybe in some of my classes it is possible for me to create interaction with the area of experts in that particular area of specialization, where my student, maybe 40 to 50 students who are sitting into my class are able to interact with that XYZ expert who may be available 250 miles away from my institute. So that kind of preparation, that kind of developmental need to be there as far as integration of technology in terms of teacher preparation is required. In new education policy, they also highlight improved teaching, learning, and evaluation process. Nowadays, during this particular pandemic period, when many of the faculty members were conducting tests for the student, most of them are using multiple choice questions only. They are either using different quizzes platforms, or they are using, say, Google Forms for the students to evaluate. Students are able to get highest score. I know the level of my student, I know their aptitude ability, but if my student is able, if a student with low aptitude ability is able to get high score for a given test, it means something is wrong in my evaluation. Maybe I provided opportunity to my student to copy paste information from the different internet resources and then reproduce in those tests. So when I said I'm preparing an evaluation tool online, as a teacher, I need to consider what kind of items need to be there. What will be the difficulty index of those question items? So it is not easy for us to integrate online evaluation system in our teaching learning activities, specifically if we are not trained in all these aspects. And hence, educational access to the disadvantages group. So when I said I'm integrating technology in my teaching learning, I need to consider that what kind of facilities my students have. Based on their facilities, I need to evaluate that whether this particular resources my students are able to access it or not. What kind of flexibility I'm providing to my student when it comes to the use of technology. Maybe at institute level, when I said I'm creating a blended learning environment for my student, it means the kind of space that is required for that blended learning environment means a traditional classroom where all kind of technological resources are there for the student, and students are free to use those resources. Flexibility is given to the students to use those resources. At the same time, when the teacher is planning or designing activities for the student, means your planning, your activity, your task need to include the use of technology while the student is sitting in a class with the facilitator or with the instructor. Streamline education planning, administration, and management. It is possible that in the time to come, degree can be earned. So the student needs not go to that institute, and the degree will be provided to that candidate online. Will be all flexible kind of environment that we will be able to create for our student. Maybe it is not fully applicable for technical student, because as far as technical education or various branches of engineering are concerned, there is a practical component that is also included. Maybe for the other stream, students are able to earn degree online only. But yes, at the technical institutions also, no spoon feeding of information is required at the part of the student. Information is available with the student. How, as a faculty, we are able to create an environment, we are able to facilitate the process of learning among students that we need to plan for the time to come. And at the same time, when I'm said I'm teaching online, so the context of teaching will be different as compared to the offline system. So blended learning doesn't mean that I'm simply integrating technology in my teaching learning activities. Blended learning means when my students are with me in the class, I need to plan a lecture in such a way that there is a facility available with my student to interact with me while sitting into the class. But at the same time, I'm exposing them with too much information available online and creating activities for my student where they are able to provide their maximum input. So global learners will be there. There will be an exponential growth of use of teaching, and when I said student population, maybe their thinking is going to be more advanced because we are providing them platform where they can interact with the experts outside, where they can interact with the information that is available on various internet resources, and there is a competition and collaboration at the same time that is happening in our classes. So in the time to come, maybe there is no discussion about the rank, there is no discussion about the merit, about the merit that is being earned by the student. The discussion will be on the acceptance of the student in the world of work. So there is a variation. So this is how we need to prepare for our education activities at institute level, and we need to ponder upon all these issues and provided a detailed information and detailed planning at institute level, that what we mean by blended learning and what are the different modes of learning I can use at my institute level. So before understanding the concept of blended learning, we need to discuss about the various pedagogical aspects of it. The first kind of learning that we need to consider is a synchronous learning. So in synchronous learning, teacher is present at the same time as the learner. So my second question to all of you is, can any of you give example of a synchronous learning environment? Any member from the group? What we mean by synchronous learning? An example for synchronous learning environment? Think, pair, share. Okay. Practical learning, classroom teaching. Theory plus practical. So thank you very much for your reply. Many of the participants said flipped classroom, theory plus practical, classroom teaching, the use of think, pair, share in a classroom, and practical learning. So when it comes to a synchronous learning, from the slide itself, it is clear to all of you is synchronous learning means where the teacher or the facilitator is available at the same time as the learner. Rightly added by all of you, a traditional classroom is an example of a synchronous learning, because in a traditional classroom, say for example, there may be 60 to 80 students who are sitting with me in my class, and it is possible for me to interact with them. It is possible for me to clarify their doubts. It is possible for me to ask questions to those students to know their level of understanding. So in a synchronous learning environment, basically in a traditional classroom, it is possible for me to create an environment where I can facilitate the process of learning. But at the same time, there are various online learning platforms also, by the use of which it is possible for me to create a synchronous learning. So, say for example, this scenario when we are interacting with all of you. So this is an example of synchronous learning. Which platform we are using right now? It's a Google Meet. So you and me are present at the same time. You can ask questions, and any time I can interact with all of you. So by the definition, synchronous learning means teacher is present at the same time as the learner. So it is not only confined to the traditional classroom, but the teacher can also use some of the technological tools to create synchronous learning environment. So anytime in a traditional classroom, the teacher can sync technology and even the students can sync technology. Say for example, in a classroom environment, maybe I'm using different webinars, a group chat, drop-in session, video conferencing, even live chat or instant messages. All these are the different tools the teacher can use to create a synchronous learning environment in a class. But there is a skill set that need to uh, be developed at the both end, at the part of the faculty also, and at the part of the students also. So, say for example, as a faculty, when I said what kind of skill set need to be there, maybe the pace at which I'm delivering the lecture right now, that need to be a bit slower as compared to this particular tone, or maybe when I said a skill set that need to be developed at the part of the student. So in a chat box, you are able to read many of the messages from the participants where they are discussing about the Telegram group or WhatsApp group they are demanding. So that kind of skill set is also required to be developed at the part of the student. Right now, we are discussing about this particular content. So we are discussing about the blended learning. So if there is any question asked by all of you, this must be related to this particular topic. So what will be about, what will be the attendance link, what will be the Telegram link, what will be the evaluation of this particular course. These discussions can be carried forward after this particular session also. So point of discussion is, when we said we are integrating technology, there are some kind of etiquettes that we need to develop for our classroom environment. As a teacher also, I need to develop certain skill. As a student also, we all need to develop certain skill when we are integrating technology in our teaching learning. So by this, it is clear to all of us, synchronous learning means any environment where the facilitator and students are available at the same time. That environment is considered as synchronous learning. Traditional classroom is an example of a synchronous learning, whereas there are many online tools available with all of us, by the use of which it is possible for us to create a synchronous learning environment for our students. But there are certain barriers to synchronous learning. The first barrier is it limit flexibility. So when it comes to limiting flexibility, so it limits the flexibility of the learners, because when I said teacher and students are available at same time, it means it is not possible for you to compare this information. At times, it is not possible for you to analyze this information when I'm delivering this information to all of you. So it limit the flexibility at the part of the learner. Whereas if I'm using a synchronous environment at this particular moment, it is possible for you to go through the other details of this content also. It limits flexibility of learner. All the students need to work at the same time. As a faculty, I need to be there from 2:30 to 4 p.m. because of this particular time schedule. So synchronous learning schedule of classes is already fixed. It is limiting flexibility at the part of the student. It is limiting flexibility at the part of the faculty also. And if the learner is not available, and if the recorded lecture provision is not provided to all of you, the learners who are not available with us are going to miss this information. So these are some of the barriers that we need to consider as far as integration of technology in traditional classroom or otherwise using online classrooms are concerned. The second approach of learning is asynchronous learning. So asynchronous learning means the teacher is not present at the same time as the learner is. So maybe the teaching material is posted online and learners work for them in their own time. Say, for example, if we registered for any online course, maybe an online course available on Neptal, maybe an online course available on Swim platform. So when we are registering for those courses and try to complete those resources, those learning environments are considered as a synchronous learning environment where the e-content is provided to all of us. At the same time, it is possible for me as a student to work as and when desired by me, as and when my schedule permit me to do the activities of that particular course. So in asynchronous learning environment also, it is possible for the faculty to interact with the student. In that particular case, the interaction time, the interaction schedule needs to be created by the faculty. Maybe the teacher is creating a Telegram group, the teacher is creating a discussion forum for all the students to interact with each other and clarify their doubts. So in asynchronous learning environment also, it is possible for the faculty to communicate with the student. The faculty also provides facility to the students to make a group to share the information and to interact with each other. So, say for example, email interactions can be there, discussion forums can be there, digital Blackboard app is there nowadays, where it is possible for the faculty to provide recorded information to the student. So, when it comes to asynchronous learning environment, again, there are number of media tools available with us. So in asynchronous learning environment, it is not limited to audio and video related media tools. The teacher can also integrate social networking tools in the teaching learning applications, and teacher can use in many softwares, many tools available with us to create such kind of an environment. So social media is a greatest tool where it comes to passing information to the students, but when it comes to share information related to the content, maybe the teacher need to create a learning management system. So for example, the teacher is using Cohort, or the teacher is using uh, LMS, Moodles for the content information sharing. So it is possible for the teacher to create a synchronous learning environment for the students. There are certain barriers. First barrier that we need to consider is a capacity building. So capacity building at the part of the students, capacity building at the part of the faculty members. So maybe when a prepared media tool is available with us, it is possible for us to use that tool. But when somebody at my institute level said me to create a media tool for my subject, it is not easy for me for the creation of that particular tool and use that tool for my student. So capacity building in terms of the use of technology, capacity building in terms of creation of that technology is required at the heart of faculty. When I said I'm creating a learning management system for my students, maybe it is possible for me to place the whole content of that particular subject available with me, possible for me to create activity for my students by the use of that particular LMS facility. But when it comes to giving feedback to my students related to any questions or any inquiry that is being asked by the student on that particular platform, as a teacher, I need to have a training that how it is possible for us to write an effective feedback to my students, specifically in an online learning environment. There are many issues, many essential elements that we need to consider when it comes to capacity building as far as the use of technology is concerned as a part of a faculty. And maybe there are many students in that class who are not very comfortable while the use of technology. Maybe they are new to that particular technology. How I'm going to uh, provide information to my student that how it is possible for them to use that technology to the fullest extent, how it is possible for them to create interaction in that particular platform, how it is possible for them to have all kind of information available on that particular resource. So capacity building is an important issue that we need to consider as far as asynchronous learning environment is concerned. So when it's at integration of technology in teaching learning, the first thing that we need to consider it is not the variety of media that we are using for our students. Maybe there are one or two media tools available with us, but how we are using or how we are integrating that media in our teaching learning activities, specifically based on the level of the student, that is the most important thing to consider. The second major point that we need to consider is kind of infrastructure facilities available. So when you said the kind of infrastructure facilities available, I'm not talking about the infrastructure facilities available at your institute or the kind of infrastructure facilities available with the faculty member. When we are creating environments specifically for our students, we need to consider the kind of facilities my students or my stakeholders have. So maybe some of my students in class are not able to access internet facility at their location. I am providing online education to my students, but my students are not able to access that information due to the lack of facility. So at institute level, I need to evaluate, I need to consider that what kind of facilities are available with my student, and if at all the facilities are not available with them, how as Another important thing to consider in asynchronous environment is the kind of stakeholders we have. If I divide my class population into three different categories, maybe some of my students are from the urban area, some of my students are from semi-urban area, and maybe there are few students who are from rural area. Means their family expectations may be altogether different. It means the demand of those students may be altogether different. So when we set expectations of stakeholders in this industry, it is the word of work for whom we are preparing our student. It is the family members of that particular student. We need to fulfill the expectations of those families also. And at the third level, there are students who are sitting into my class. So maybe every student have a different kind of objective in his or her mind. When I'm imparting information to my student by the use of online resources, if a student is a visual learner, he will be very happy because information is provided to that student by the use of recorded video lectures or by the use of various animations and graphics, by the use of very attractive online courses. If my student is not a visual learner, he is a static learner. So that student needs to use his or her senses in teaching learning activity. That student actually want to see those objects, want to touch those objects, want to do some practical kind of activities. So in an online learning environment, it is not possible for me to create and organize such kind of experiences for my student. We can use artificial intelligence, we can use augmented reality, we can use virtual laboratory also. But at institute level, I need to evaluate whether I have all kind of resources available with me so that it is possible for me to fulfill the demand of those kinesthetic learners who are sitting in my class. Maybe a subject is numerical by nature. My student want to have a step-by-step explanation of that particular concept. So is it possible for me to create an extensive detail of that particular subject? So we need to consider the kind of stakeholders we are going to deal in an asynchronous learning environment. Another important thing to consider is flexibility to the faculty. So when I said flexibility to the faculty, say for example, your management said to you that you need to create an online course. XYZ online course for your subject matter. Maybe the course is of 2 credit. But to develop an online course, it requires maximum effort and time at the part of the faculty. Maybe the faculty need to spend 6 to 7 hours for the preparation of the content and then develop video recorded lecture for that content, upload the material on a platform and then interact with the learners, interact with the students related to the activities, related to the content matter of that particular course. Maybe the faculty member receive an email at 2 o'clock in night, and the faculty member is in the process of replying those 2,000 or 3,000 emails he or she received from that online platform. It means it is not not kind of classroom teaching thing that we are doing right now. We need to develop our own content. We need to develop our own videos. We need to design unique activities for our students. Then only it is possible for me to deliver that online course for my students. So when the faculty is putting too much effort, somewhere it is not possible for the faculty to available for 9 o'clock class or for 10 o'clock class for say. So it means the flexibility need to be given to that faculty. The working culture is going to be changed, and there is an online education system that is prevailing at a very fast rate in our country. Our working culture is also need to be changed. It's not 9 to 5 classes that we are engaging. Maybe a group of students is more comfortable when it comes to have a class from 6 to 7 in an evening. One group of students demanded a class from 9 to 10 in the morning. Another group of students set to engage a class maybe on Saturday, or maybe I'm creating a discussion forum for my student, a live class for my student on Sunday. It means working culture is also going to change, and our education system is going to shift from a traditional classroom to an online education. Another important thing to consider is a generation gap. According to the survey, the student population that we have at right now, they demand more interaction from the faculty. They demand personalized instructions. So as a faculty, I need to create interaction. I need to create content that is more personalized by nature. So it is not a textbook kind of demand that is going to be happen at the part of a student population. They want content where practice task is already embedded and feedback is provided in that content only, so that it is easy for them to evaluate their own level of understanding. So as the generation is changing, their demand related to the various teaching learning activities are also going to be changed. Maybe it is possible for my students to access all kinds of information by downloading the free ebooks available on a platform. It is possible for them to listen to lectures by some XY expert for some another university. So when information is available with them, they are demanding something else from the faculty. So we need to consider that in an asynchronous learning environment, asynchronous learning environment means that most of the activities are happening online for the student. It is not the routine kind of activities we are going to perform for our students. As a teacher, we need to prepare ourselves for that learning environment first. At a institute level, we need to create and provide such resources for our student. Only then it is possible for us to shift from a traditional classroom environment to an online learning environment. And when we said asynchronous learning environment, where the teacher is integrating technology, it is totally dependent upon the type of subject you have, it is totally dependent upon the level of the students you have, and it also depends upon the comfort level of the faculty. So maybe it is very comfortable for one faculty to use media in a classroom, but another faculty is not comfortable in doing so. It is possible for one faculty to create a visual PowerPoint presentation for a student, but for another faculty, it is simply the information copy pasted on a different slide. So when we are creating media, when we are using media or using different online tools available with us, the comfort of faculty, specifically in synchronous learning environment, also needs to be considered at institute level. So these problems can be solved by the club of both the learning environment. So blended learning can be an approach teacher, faculty members, and even students can use comfortably at institute level. So in simple terms, when we say blended learning is a mixture of synchronous and asynchronous learning environment. Synchronous and asynchronous learning environment, but the question arises when I said I am integrating face-to-face learning with an online learning, how it is possible for me to blend it? So that is the major question that we need to answer. That yes, the answer for the different barriers for synchronous and asynchronous learning is blending both kind of learning environment. But the question arises how to blend those resources. So as a faculty, I need to ponder upon all the issues of synchronous and asynchronous learning and then create a lesson plan for my blended learning classroom. So my next question to all of you is how it is possible for you to create a blended learning environment for a student. Is it easy or a difficult thing to do at institute level? Yes, any member from the group can reply in a chat box. So my question to all of you is, blended learning is the mixing of offline and online learning environment together. But the question arises, how to blend them effectively? Okay. I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you very much, sir. So when it comes to integrating face-to-face learning and integrating online learning environment together, it is considered as blended learning. But how to club synchronous and asynchronous learning environment? Since in the earlier, when we are discussing about these aspects of learning, there are certain barriers associated with these two type of learning environment. When it comes to synchronous or asynchronous learning environment, these are four major things that we need to consider. The first important thing that we need to consider is the content. Content means subject information, maybe in a verbal form or maybe in a written form that we are going to provide to our student. So whenever it comes to preparing a content, whenever it comes to preparing a learning material for our student, it must be tailored made. So a faculty cannot use the resources. Faculty need not to use the content that has been prepared by another faculty for some group of students. Maybe the quality of student that faculty has or the quality of the student available in your class is different. So depending on the type of students you have, you need to create a tailor-made content. So when you know that all are creating the resources. So when we are copy pasting information from different internet sites, maybe there are 50 different internet sites available with me for that particular topic. So when I'm providing information to a student, that information needs to be in a structured manner. That information needs to be in integrated form. When I said integrated form, it is not information copied from the different resources or a textbook kind of language that I'm going to provide to my students in an online environment or in a blended environment. There must be a creation of self-learning modules by the faculty first. So whenever we are creating self-learning modules for our student, there must be an objective defined for the student. In terms of outcome-based education, it is considered as learning outcome. So
Ma'am, sorry to disturb you. Your
yes,
voice
sir.
is breaking, ma'am.
Let me check it again, sir. Yes, I hope the PowerPoint presentation is available with you.
Yes, madam.
Thank you very much, sir. So the first thing that we need to consider when it comes to club synchronous and asynchronous learning environment is the creation of the content. The learning material that we are preparing for our student in a blended learning environment must be created and designed by the faculty. It must be tailor-made, means as per the level of students you have at your institute level, you need to develop an content. It is in an interpreted form, means I'm not going to copy paste the information available on various internet websites. I'm not going to provide information that is available in the reference textbook. What kind of content I need to provide to my student? The content where activities are embedded, the content where practice tasks are being given to students in a written form, along with the feedback for those practice tasks. So when we are using, the teacher can also use various open educational resources available nowadays. But if we are using those open educational resources as a content for my student, I need to have a continuous assessment of my student. I need to have a continuous activities for my student to know that whether it's possible for my student to go through that educational resource, to understand that content information and then deliver that content information as and when desired by the faculty and as per the demand of that evaluation criteria. The first thing that we need to consider is what kind of content we are going to provide to our students for providing open educational resources to our student. What kind of activity need to be there for the student and what kind of information as a faculty I'm going to deliver to a student to enrich their information. The second major thing that we need to consider in blended learning environment is schedule of your classes. So when I said schedule of your classes means as a teacher, I need to decide when my class is shifting to the synchronous environment, when I'm shifting my students to the online learning environment. So maybe suppose suppose, for example, I have a lecture of 60 minutes, or maybe I have a lecture of 55 minutes. In those 55 minutes, when I'm designing activities for my students, what kind of information I'm giving to them in a traditional classroom? When I'm using technology, is there any activity for the students to perform the class by the use of technology? Or I'm simply delivering my lecture in a class, and then in terms of different activities, I'm simply uploading those activities on LMS. That is only synchronous learning. That is not picture of synchronous or asynchronous learning. So as a teacher, I need to create a lesson plan for my blended environment where a group of students can work together by the use of technology, and at the same time, when I'm said synchronous learning environment, maybe I am imparting information to my student when they are in a class. So is my voice not clear yet?
Now it's a bit okay, madam.
Thank you very much, sir. So in a blended learning environment, the first thing that we need to consider is traditional lesson plan is not going to work. A blended kind of lesson plan need to be developed by the faculty where minute-to-minute details is available with the student, that when my faculty is going to provide me a direct instruction, and when my faculty members are when my faculty is going to assign me a group-based activity by the use of technology, or maybe an individual activity where I'm interacting with the content while sitting online. So schedule need to be prepared by the faculty. In a blended learning environment, the third thing that we need to consider is assessment. So in a technical education system, basically there are two different types of assessment. One is the formative assessment and second is the summative assessment. So as far as your summative assessment is concerned, summative assessment means the final examination we conduct for our students. Till date in India, as far as evaluation is concerned at institute level, till date in India, when we said the summative evaluation of my student, we are conducting that paper pen type of test. But as far as our formative assessment is concerned, as a teacher in a blended learning environment, I need to create and integrate technology in my evaluation aspects also. So when I said a multiple choice question, say for example, by the use of Google Form, you're creating a multiple choice question test for your student. So what need to be the difficulty index of those questions? How much time you are allotted for each item? How you are going to prepare those question items? If you are copy pasting information or multiple choice questions available on internet resources, it is possible for the student to copy paste the answer by using those internet sites only. So when I said assessment in a blended learning environment, the teacher is going to create those assessments. Say you are taking an exam on an online learning environment, so I cannot ask simply questions related to in the working principle or discuss something, define something. Your assessment need to be application based assessment, where student need to put all the learned information to verify the concept or verifying the content. So in a blended learning environment, there may be group activities designed by the faculty. There may be individual activities designed by the faculty, but whatever course assessment designing at the part of the faculty will design his or her own assessment. The teacher is not going to ask simply questions related to remembering and understanding, but the assessment need to be related to the higher order thinking of the student. The fourth major component that we need to consider in a blended environment is interaction. So in a synchronous learning environment, if I talk about the advantages of synchronous learning environment, it's possible for the teacher to socialize with the student. So teacher can create humor, teacher can discuss the personal problems of the students also. Teacher can share any kind of information in a traditional classroom. But means in a synchronous learning environment, it is possible for all of us to create socialization. It is possible for us to have formal and informal discussion. So in synchronous learning environment, it is very easy for all of us to provide feedback to our student. So teacher can use verbal feedback, teacher can even use from the non-verbal behavior also, the student collects some sort of a feedback. The teacher can also write some of the comments on their tute sheets or their answer script. Very easy for us to create interaction in synchronous learning environment. When we talk about asynchronous learning environment, the first major challenge that we are going to face is human interaction is going to be missing part. So when I said online learning, various online learning platforms, it is not possible for me as a faculty to create humor. It is not possible for me to design informal discussion that will help me to develop better interpersonal relationship with my student. But when I said asynchronous learning environment and teacher is providing feedback, the first thing that we need to consider is never provide instant feedback to your student. So for example, one student asks you something on a platform that is controversial and you start replying based on your state of mind. So whenever it comes to providing written feedback in an online learning environment, the faculty need to consider time. The faculty need to give respect to the other individual, that is the student, because in an online learning environment where socializing is not possible at the part of the faculty, the student can create their WhatsApp group, the student can create their Telegram group and share all kind of information in those groups. But as a faculty, if I'm creating any kind of a social group to my student, as a faculty, I am just interacting about that content information. I'm just passing directions related to that subject matter. There is no opportunity available with me to develop better interpersonal relationship with my student. So when we said blended learning environment, the teacher needs to create a culture of peer feedback. So one student will provide feedback to another student and teacher will facilitate the process of feedback. When I'm creating such kind of environment for my student, it is possible for me create an embedded self-feedback mechanism at the part of the student. And since in a student population, there is no personality clashes, there is no ego clashes, it is possible for them to accept those kind of feedback. As a teacher, when I'm providing feedback to the group of students, or as a teacher, when I'm providing feedback to the individual student, the selection of the word in writing, the tonal quality of your written words, the use of good structure and range of vocabulary need to be considered by the teacher, because that is a recorded information, a recorded comment you are going to pass to your student. In nutshell, we can say in a blended learning environment where synchronous and asynchronous feedback or another things are there, the teacher need to plan the whole class first. Maybe on that platform, one student is sending emoji to me. So as a teacher, I can accept that emoji or I can reject that emoji. So when I said in an online learning environment, it is not possible for me to interact with my student all the time. So I need to observe their nonverbal behavior also. So emoji is what? These are the emotions, expression the population is showing towards each other. So as a teacher, I need to accept that language also. Help me to understand the behavior. It helped me to understand the non-verbal behavior of my student population. So somewhere we need to have a balance between verbal and a written feedback in a blended learning environment. As a teacher, I need to create a schedule first where my student already know that what kind of resources my teacher is going to use for my today class and how I need to prepare for those resources. I want to share my personal experience over here in this pandemic situation when we are conducting online test for our master's level student. In NITA Chandigarh, in Master of Engineering, there are the faculty members sponsored by Government of India, and those faculty members are attending their test by using mobile only. They don't have laptop at that time. So that kind of mindset is there, that kind of population is available with all of us. They do not know how to prepare for online classes. they need to prepare for such kind of an environment. For that, we need to create a lesson plan. We need to create a schedule where my student come to know that what kind of resources need to have with me to attend today class. Only then it is possible for me to create a blended learning environment for my student. Sometimes at NITE Chandigarh, I allow my research methodology masters and PhD level students to use their mobile phones, to use their smart electronic gadgets for the completion of an assignment activity. But that assignment is not copied from the textbook. That assignment is an application based assignment. I design a case study for my student. I give that case study to my student to analyze. So there may be supplement resources that need to be understood by the student before doing the analysis of that case study. For that, student can use all kinds of resources available with them. There is an internet facility, computer system is available in all the classrooms. Student can use all those kind of resources for completion of those activities or those assignments. But as teacher, I need to create such an environment. I'm also creating Google Classroom for my student where I posted all kind of content information for my class. When students come to my class, they need to be ready with that particular content. And in a classroom environment, there is only activities, there is only discussion about that content matter. I am not going to provide information to my students again because I have matured learners. Some of them already covered that particular subject in their bachelor's level or in the master's level. So I need not to repeat that information again and again. I need to put more advanced information in my classroom environment so that it is possible for me to engage my student. So in a blended learning environment, by the creation of such kind of a lesson plan only, it is possible for us to create a blended environment for our student. So next time when we are going to integrate technology in a traditional classroom environment, I need to consider what kind of content I'm going to provide to my student. Schedule need to be prepared at departmental level, and that schedule need to be distributed among the students before the commencement of the class. There must be a continuous assessment of my students' level of understanding. And when I'm creating interaction for my students, specifically for an online learning environment, I need to create a schedule for the interaction where my students are able to discuss their problem. And it is possible for me as a faculty to create a facilitating environment for learning. So how it is by this, we can effectively club synchronous as well as asynchronous learning environment. Another important thing to consider is, so these are the four major components by the use of which it is possible for me to club synchronous and asynchronous learning. Another thing to consider is how to achieve this. So as a faculty, what kind of facilities, what kind of skills I need to develop so that it is possible for me to achieve the requirements of that blended learning environment. So again, there are four major things that we need to consider. The first thing is we need to consider what we mean by teaching online. So my fourth question to all of you is, when as a faculty you are interacting with your student and when as a faculty you are delivering the content information online to your class students, what are the different challenges faced by you? Yes, in an online learning environment, what are the different challenges faced by you? So I repeat my question again. In an online learning environment, when you are teaching to your students online, what are the different challenges faced by you? Lack of face-to-face interaction. Okay. No response from student side, lack of interaction, internet connectivity issue. Student attention may be diverted after some time. So eye contact, internet. So thank you very much for your reply. Another reply is problems during mathematical topics, one-to-one interaction needed during that and attention of students. So it means there are time consuming as lots of time is needed for PPT. So when you said lots of time needed for PowerPoint presentation, is it for the preparation of those slides or is it delivery of those slides? Preparation of those slides. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your reply. So we will discuss on these issues one by one. When I say teaching online, and in earlier discussion, we consider that there are variety of learners available in my class. Their learning styles may be different. According to the Gardner theory on multiple intelligence, in human population, we have 9 different level of intelligence available. So if I have 60 or say 70 students in my class, maybe my class is a combination of those 9 levels of intelligence available with me. When I'm teaching my students, specifically in an online learning environment, where a limited opportunity is available with me to interact with them, so it is not possible for me to create an individualized instruction for my student. So it's a collective kind of approach, collective kind of teaching that I'm doing for my student. As a teacher, as a student, we need both required to develop certain skills, but specifically as a faculty, I need to create an environment where my students feel comfortable with me in that online learning environment. So the first thing that we need to consider is the creation of the lesson plan, or we can say activity specification sheet for our student. Maybe in the initial 5 minutes, I will consider as an ice breaking session where I simply interact with my student. I asked a simple question to my student where the answer is known to almost all the students of my class. I just know about, but as my lecture develop, as my content progress, I try to give some of the activities to my student. So, for example, I'm simply using a 5 question quiz for my student to participate with online. Maybe I'm creating a visual kind of experience for my students first, where all kind of content information is provided to them by the use of video first. Then only it is possible for me to have attention of my student. When you said preparation of PowerPoint presentation require maximum time, so, specifically, as far as PowerPoint presentations are concerned, it is not only the written kind of slides we are providing to our student. Maybe I'm creating a video recorded lecture for my student, added it in the PowerPoint presentation, and provided as a supplementary resource to my students to understand. So, teaching online specifically for a variety of learners, it means your every class need to have a different kind of methodology to use for your students. So maybe when there's a new information, I'm using my class, I'm engaging my class simply by lecturing about that particular content. In my another class, maybe I'm just creating a platform for my student where my students will interact with me. In my third class, maybe I'm providing an activity to my students to perform, and based on performance only, I'm discussing about that content matter. So every class, maybe after every second or third class, there is a different kind of approach need to be utilized by the teacher. And when we said online classes for 45 or 55 minutes, it is impossible for the student to be with you all the time. So your online class need to be full with activities. maybe a small activities. By the use of those activities, it is possible for the teacher to have engagement of the students in a class. For different kind of skill set need to be there, and activity specification need to be developed by the faculty first. Only then it's possible for the teacher to engage the students in an online learning environment. The second major component that we need to consider is communication skill. So my next question to all of you is it possible for us to use all four basic skills of communication specifically in an online learning environment? Yes, is it possible for all of us to use four basic skills of communication in an online learning environment? Yes, how it is possible for us, Pragati ma'am? Maybe. So the four basic skills of communications are basically reading, listening, writing, and speaking. These are the four basic skills of communication. How we are using these four basic skills of communication in online learning environment? Many of the participating faculty members said, and few are writing as maybe. So my question was, Mr. Vipin, my question was how it is possible for us to use four basic skills of communication in online learning environment. Not possible. So many of the faculty members are writing as think, pair, share as a blended learning approach, and it is possible for us to use four basic skills of communication by think, pair, share. For your information, when we said think, pair, share is a collaborative teaching method. Think, pair, share, where students can interact with each other in pairs, or teachers need to use this instructional strategy in a traditional classroom environment. In an online learning environment, it is not possible for us to create think, pair, share as a teaching method. So think, pair, share is a teaching strategy that we can use in a traditional classroom environment. So there are many media tools available with us, such as PenTab, Annotate, and Polls, by the use of which there is a use of the four basic skills of communication. So thank you very much, all of you. Many of you said by the use of language. When we said communication, it is only the use of language only, whether it's a verbal or a non-verbal language. But when it comes to the use of four basic skills of communication in an online learning environment, there we are blending synchronous learning also, considering synchronous learning also. So as a faculty, we need to use the four basic skills of communication. Say, for example, when I said I need to promote the habit of reading among my class students, but since my students are available online with me today, I'm not creating a synchronous environment for them. So maybe many of my students are not interested in reading about the content. So in that particular case, it is a hint to the faculty that you need to create a personalized kind of instruction. Say, for example, for unit number 1, I am going to create a self-learning module. Why for unit number 1? Maybe that information is already available with the student. That content is already covered by the student previous semester. So that unit is easy to understand by my student. For the unit number 1, I am not going to prepare any PowerPoint presentation. I am not going to prepare.
मैम आपकी आवाज नहीं ठीक आ रही.
A major issue today.
These controls are mostly seen in studio lights. So
आपने LAN नहीं कनेक्ट किया मैम.
LAN पे भी नेट आ नहीं रहा मोनिका आज हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में.
पहले वाला जिसमें भाई बहन का शॉट है.
So am I audible to all of you now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Monica. So when I said I need to involve my student in various communication skills, so maybe for my course, for my subject, for the unit number 1, I need to develop a self-learning module for my students where there is a personalized instructions developed by me. Why for unit number 1? Because that unit do not require direct instructions at the part of the student. It is easy for my student to go through that particular content. By the use of that self-learning module, it is possible for me to involve my students in various reading activities. The second major communication skill that we are going to use in an online learning environment is the listening skill. So the thing that we need to consider in an online learning environment about listening is, as a teacher, we are providing information to our student. Our student, while sitting in that online environment, trying to process that information. So when I need to involve my student in a listening skill is, whenever I'm asking the question to my student, the teacher needs to consider a wait time. So sometimes need to give to the student to think out that information and then give reply to you. Whenever you are asking question to your student, whenever you are framing any question to your student, consider that wait time as an important thing to consider, as when the student are asking question to the faculty, at that time also the faculty need to clearly understand the statement first, only then try to develop an answer and give response to the student population. The most usable skill in an online learning environment is writing skill. So as we were earlier discussing, there may be use of infographics by the student. There may be use of animations or emojis by the students nowadays. So whenever the teacher is writing something back to the student, that writing must be respectful enough for that particular individual, and we need to accept the kind of languages used by the student. I'm not saying that students are not writing in an appropriate manner. Whatever graphics and animations used by the student, up to some extent, we need to accept that kind of information, because that information helps us to understand the personality of that particular candidate. That need to be considered by the faculty. The fourth major content communication skill that we need to consider is the speaking skill. In an online learning environment, when as a faculty I'm delivering my talk, I need to consider the quality of my voice. I need to consider the variety I'm able to put in that verbal explanation. So there may be number of software tools like Edpuzzle software is there, or variety of tools available with us, by the use of which it is possible for us to listen to that information and pass that information among the student community. So reading, writing, listening, and speaking, whenever we are designing our classes for our student and creating schedule for our student, we need to consider the importance of these four basic skills of communication and integrate this communication in our learning environment. Another important thing to consider is the kind of learning spaces that is the most basic requirement of a blended learning. So in a blended learning, we said it's a combination of synchronous asynchronous learning environment. It means my classroom needs to be equipped with all kind of resources. At my institute, there must be all kind of technical resources available with me. Only then it's possible for me to create an blended learning environment for my student. So learning space in a blended environment can be face to face and it can be online. So when I said a face to face learning environment and an online learning environment, as a teacher, I need to understand the complexity in these two spaces. In face to face learning environment, it is possible for me to interact with my student. But when it comes to create interaction in an online learning space, I need to consider the needs of my student. I need to consider that in any case my students are not able to use the technology. how it is possible for me to help that candidate as a faculty when I'm delivering any lecture in a blended learning environment and the technology is not working. Is it possible for me to dismantle that technology with ease and use another resource of technology, or maybe shift my mode from an online learning to an offline learning environment? So all these issues related to the learning spaces we need to consider. Another important thing to consider is the interaction. So whenever we are creating interaction for our student, what kind of interaction need to be there? As in a response, one faculty from mathematical branch said, my student wants to have a step-by-step explanation, and sometimes it is not possible for me create such kind of interaction in an online learning environment. So maybe that faculty need to use a Blackboard Share app. That faculty need to create an individualized interactions for the student. That faculty need to use more synchronous learning as compared to asynchronous learning. So that need to be selected by the faculty based on the kind of the subject the faculty is going to deal with the student. So by considering all these issues, it is possible for us to create an environment, blended environment for our students. So when it comes to blend, readiness, intensity, and effectiveness. So as we earlier discussed, readiness means that we are teaching. Readiness of the stakeholders. So when I said stakeholders, maybe at a lower most level, maybe my student have smartphone available with them, my student have laptop facility available with them, my student have internet connectivity accessibility with them. So nationwide, there are many of policies designed by the government of India to provide such kind of resources to our students. But at institute level, we need to consider that where there is any kind of financial aid provided by the institute to help the student to use and have these kind of resources. Readiness at the part of student also, when we are integrating technology in our teaching activities, we need to have more commitment at the part of the learner. As a teacher, if I allow my student to use smartphone or laptop in a classroom environment, how the students are using those technological resources also need to be assessed by the faculty. So whether the students are interested in e-learning or not, their commitment, their regularity also need to be evaluated at institute level. When it's a blended learning environment and one of the faculty said PowerPoint presentation consume maximum of time, it means the faculty need to have training in the development of those technological resources first. Sometimes it's not possible for us as a faculty to correct those technological resources and to use those resources to the fullest extent. So at the institute level, readiness means my faculty needs to equip all kinds of information and policy must be there while the use or consumption of those resources at institute level. So institute support in terms of technical assistance, in terms of institute resources, and in terms of technical readiness also need to be considered. Most specifically, when we said readiness related to the content we are trying to deliver to our student in a blended learning environment. Readiness also needs to be considered in terms of the cultural readiness. When we are using technology, what kind of applications of technology that is affecting our society, specifically the student population. We need to have a capacity building program for the faculty, for the stakeholders such as students. So that kind of intense readiness need to be considered. The second thing that institute level we need to consider is intensity. Intensity means, for example, suppose we need blended packages. But for whom we need blended packages? This is for the faculty and for the students to use. Maybe in an initial phase, we need to.
बिल्कुल ऑडियो नहीं है
Hello.
हाँ जी
Is it clear, Monica?
ऐसे तो क्लियर आती है, जब आप लेक्चर लेते हो फिर नहीं आ रही आती.
Okay. So when it comes to the intensity of adoption, intensity means when we are buying resources and when we are utilizing those resources for our students, those resources need to be used fully at institute level. So we need to evaluate what kind of resources we are buying for our students and faculty, and do we need to have hybrid entities, or do we need to use the simplest, most technology available for the use? For example, many of us nowadays are using Google Meet or Cisco WebEx or different Google platform such as Google Classroom for our students. And if at institute level fulfill all our requirements related to it, we do not need to buy those hybrid resources or those hybrid packages. So that intensity of adoption need to be considered at institute level. Another important issue that we need to consider is impact. So evaluation is required that whether the understanding level of the student, are we getting something by the use of technology? Possible for me to achieve all kinds of learning outcomes by the use of technological resources. So that need to be considered at an institute level. So this is how it is possible for us to create a blended learning environment at institute level, and there is a complex adaptive blended learning model that the institute can use at the lowermost level to integrate blended learning at institute level. So as for this particular model, there are 6 different elements we need to consider. First is a teacher. The role of teacher need to define at institute level. So whether the teacher at present in a blended learning environment, the teacher need to act as a facilitator of that information. When the students are not able to use technology, the teacher need to create a bridge and become a moderator in that synchronous and asynchronous learning environment. When information is available in abundance, the teacher need to act as an advisor for the student and provided them the useful information related to the subject matter. And at the same time, when the teacher is interacting with the student online, offline, the teacher need to play a role of a guide and a counselor. When we are creating content for a blended learning environment, it must be interactive. It must create collaboration among students. There must be individualized instructions also related to the concept. The teacher needs to create activities where students involved in the process of problem-based learning, and there must be a deeper learning happened at the level of the learners by the design of activities developed by the teacher himself. When we are using technology at institute level, we need to consider that what kind of subject need to have a synchronous learning environment and what are the different subjects it is possible for us to cover by the use of a synchronous learning environment. So it is not advisable to use technology for almost all the subjects. Based on the type of the subject at institute level, we need to consider that for which subject we are creating synchronous learning and for which subject we are creating asynchronous learning environment. When it comes to creating both kind of learning environment at institute level, there must be a technical team who support the faculty members as well as the student as far as the various learning management system or learning platforms are concerned. That is a major requirement need to be fulfilled at institute level. So as a learner, when we are creating activities or developing content, we need to consider that learner need to think globally nowadays. My learner need to be accepted by the world of work after the completion of the formal education. So when I am developing a content and interacting with my student, there must be a person involved in that content. My learner need to search for the information and ready for the information related to that particular content. And within the team and within the group, my students are capable enough of providing information and providing feedback to each other. So at institute level, when we said blending of offline and online learning environment, there must be a policy document need to be prepared at institute level. For a traditional classroom, it is not essential, but for an online learning environment, when we are delivering information by the use of various platforms. A policy needs to be developed at institute level regarding the use of those resources available online, regarding the creation of different media tools for your students. Services need to be there, support need to be there. At the same time, there must be a strategy developed at institute level so that when the institute is using different kind of academic resources available online, there must not be an issue at the part of the faculty. So all kind of legal matters or all kind of copyright or ethical right issues need to be considered by the institute. So it's a complex adaptive blended learning model. By considering all the major 6 elements of this, it is possible for us to create a blended learning environment for our institute. So the 6 elements are the learner, teacher, content, technology, learning support, and the role of institute. So what we need for blended learning in nutshell? We need a trained faculty, we need quality students, we need learning spaces, we need flexibility, not in terms of the working culture, but also in terms of scheduling our classes. And at the end, we need technology also. So this is all about the blended learning environment, how it is possible for us to create, and what are the different issues that we need to consider. So any question from your side? Yes, any member, if you have question related to this particular session.
No, ma'am, no.
So thank you very much. So many of the participants were asking about the Telegram group. I think the link is already shared by Monica. And as far as attendance link is concerned, attendance link is also shared by Monica only. So kindly go to that link and fill your attendance. As far as the timetable of this particular course is concerned, from 4 to 4:30, there is a discussion session planned for all of you. Today, due to the internet connectivity issue, there was many times the session were broken in between. So sorry for that. As far as one question by Alka ma'am is, any demo on tools for blended learning? So ma'am, I hope the timetable schedule is available with all of us for this particular course. So in this course, Tuesday after lunch, the discussion will be on the different tools. So one session on for all of you is effective use of Google Classroom, but other than Google Classroom, the various blended learning tools will be discussed by Dr. KG Srinivasan sir. In a flipped classroom session also, we will provide you some of the open source tools available for a blended classroom kind of an environment. And when we said Moodle for blended learning, there are 2 or 3 different types of Moodles that we are going to discuss in this particular course. So in the time to come, the tools will be discussed with all of you. This particular session is related to the orientation post only, orientation part only for the blended learning. Can you please post Telegram group link? Monica, can you please post that link again for the participants? So it is shared by another participant. Thank you very much. So if there is any clarification that is required at your part as far as course information or the course content is concerned. Feedback link. As far as the feedback link is concerned, ma'am, it will be shared on Friday only. Friday after lunch, after your evaluation, the feedback link will be shared with all of you. And since it is a Atal Academy course, all the participants need to fill that feedback form. After that, only you are eligible for that certificate. Link to join the session tomorrow. The same link will be for 5 days, sir. Will you share the content? As far as ma'am Atal Academy courses are concerned, the recorded lectures will be shared with all the participants. Is it compulsory to join the Telegram group? It's not compulsory at all to join the Telegram group, because as far as the information related to this particular course is concerned, we will share information through email only. It is up to you that whether you want to be the part of that Telegram group or not. So feedback will be provided on Friday only. The attachments are asking permission. Monica, can you please help us with this?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
The participants are asking that the attachments are asking for permission. I think they are talking.
मैम वो रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स हैं, उनको नीड नहीं होगी, हमने अपने पर्पस के लिए किए हैं डाउनलोड.
Okay. So thank you very much, Monica. Madam, in the attendance, in the column of the name faculty, we have to fill name of the faculty. You have to fill your own name, sir. Attendance is yours. You have to write your own name on that link.